Lots of companies are using artificial intelligence. Delta has raised some eyebrows by announcing that it is using the churning of data through artificial intelligence to set prices. Now, there are lots of curiosities about that. Could it create a lower price structure? Could it create a higher price structure? What are the privacy concerns? All of this is circling around this airline and its use of artificial intelligence. Someone who wants to talk to me about that is Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona. Senator, why did you on social media call this out? What are you concerned about? And how would you even try to intervene to stop it?
Well, Major, and look, you could tell kind of by my dress right now that I'm a little informal because I'm actually on family leave. But the reason this is important to me is because I have seen potentially what this could happen. Right now, I have a beautiful son that was just born. He is 6 weeks old. We have family that are actually trying to find a way to come here, try to buy tickets. Now, imagine if you are a family member, your granddaughter has just been born, your grandson has just been born, and you start posting on Facebook. Delta is going to be able to use technology to actually skim that information. And when you go and try to buy a Delta ticket, they know that you're going to actually want very much to go see that grandchild of yours, and they're going to actually raise the price. So it's not a market price, it's a pressure price, one that is designed around the pressure points they think that you are willing to pay. That is not free market capitalism. That is absolute predatory nature that they're trying to actually execute on to increase profits. So that's why it's important that we step in, and we have a right as a federal government when it comes to regulating commerce, especially when this type of action supersedes what we understand as free market capitalism, straight to the fact that they're just literally trying to increase profits by trying, to be predatory against everyday citizens and consumers.
Senator, when Delta says, as it has, that it's only going to use aggregate data, not personal data, to create this pricing structure, you say what?
Why did you say that to the shareholders that you would? Right? If you're saying that to us, go say that to your shareholders. And by the way, your fiduciary duty is to be honest with your shareholders. You brag to your shareholders that there's going to be gross profits that come from this type of data. Right now, you're saying that's not the case. Then go back to your shareholders and amend your reports to do that. Because right now, what you're telling me is absolutely different from what you told your shareholders who are trying to decide the pricing of the stock right now. So someone somewhere along the chain of communications in Delta is lying at this point. So I'm sure you can do this in better ways that can find potential savings for consumers. But the nature of companies is to maximize profits. And unless we actually intervene and regulate to make sure that they're not able to use it to create gross profits on people's pressure points that are basically being gleaned from private data, they're going to at some point do it, whether it's them or some other company. And look, we're hearing like other examples of this. We heard grocery stores are looking at different types of pricing models that will essentially affect, how much they can charge you as you walk in. So the person that's walking 5 feet in front of you is going to have a different price than you. So as someone like me who grew up clipping coupons and stuff like that, I don't want to see that. The American consumer doesn't want to see that. And unless these companies actually get their stuff together, we're going to have to step in and do something about it.
Senator, it seems to me this is a much broader conversation because artificial intelligence, large language models are going to allow this data scraping to basically contextualize every consumer down to the behavioralist, lowest or most minute granular level. So they're going to know all sorts of things about their pressure points, their previous price history, and price according to that, not a price on the shelf, metaphorically, that everyone sees and pays the same.
That's right. Look, the laws of the market are largely governed by transparency, enough information flow for the consumer to make viable information about how to buy versus not to buy, and competition, right? And of course, that being the base of supply and demand. But when the producers have more information to actually make information about, or gather information enough to actually set the price point versus the consumer, but the consumer doesn't have as much information to actually weigh that option, then it's an uneven market, and it's not a free market at that point. It's a predatory market. And so we wouldn't allow that in many other cases, and we certainly shouldn't be allowing it when it comes to whether it's airline tickets or, for example, when it comes to the pricing at grocery stores.
You and other Democrats have been pushing for release of Epstein-related material. You're adept at understanding politics and legislation. Game this out for me the next 3 or 4 weeks, or when everyone gets back in September.
Well, look, the problem here is that this theater, this political situation, was started by Donald Trump and some of his allies prior to him even being elected to office, running on it for 8 years, and then even while getting into office, promising that they were going to release these files. And so the American public was asking for this. They voted for this. And then all of a sudden, we're all supposed to just look away when the president says, there's nothing to see here. Stop asking questions. You're a fool if you're asking questions. So President Trump and his allies have to answer. Were you lying to us for the last 8 to 10 years, claiming that there was this mass conspiracy in order to protect, these elite pedophiles? Or are you trying to protect yourself? Are you trying to protect, your friends? And there's certainly ways for us to get this information out where it protects these victims while at the same time allows us to understand what was happening there. Because clearly there is a cover-up happening. And it's not just the Democrats are demanding this. This is obviously it's a pressure point that's happening among Republicans because at the core, they've been lying to them for so long, and now they want answers. And so they can't just continue running away from this. Time is not going to get away. It's not going to help them. When you've been lying for 8 years about this or talking about this for 8 to 10 years about this, 2 weeks of trying to distract with other media issues is not going to shake that. So the best way to do this is just be transparent, open up the books, open up the files, which I've been trying to get them to do on the House floor, and let the chips lie where they may.
Very, very quickly. Iowa, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, they're either on or have been on your travel schedule. You were just elected senator from Arizona. Are you already launching your presidential campaign?
Well, listen, Arizona is the swingiest swing states of all those states. So, first of all, no one talks about the fact that I move all over Arizona a gazillion times. But look, I'm here because of one problem. Right now, the Republicans have destroyed Medicaid. There are going to be millions of Arizonans and Americans, there are hundreds of thousands of Arizonans, millions of Americans are going to lose Medicaid so we could, pay for the tax cuts for the richest. You have food stamps, that are going to be cut for people that are really needy, as, by the way, grocery prices are still rising, again, for the richest of this country. And the Republicans that voted for this are in Iowa, are in New Hampshire, and are in Pennsylvania and other parts of the country. So I will continue to travel because I need allies. In New Hampshire, I got Chris Pappas, someone that I've known since college, a great congressman also who's now running for U.S. Senate, and we want to make sure that we protect that vote. We get someone else in there that understands everyday working family. He runs the oldest restaurant in New Hampshire. He understands the pain point of his customers, of his voters, and I want him in the Senate to make sure that he's there to fight with me, to make sure that we're fighting to bring costs down and make life more affordable for every American every day, and that's why I'm going to be going to New Hampshire.
Arizona Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego, the first person on the Takeout reimagined to beat me at the casual sartorial game. Well done, Senator. We'll see you next time.